Welcome, dear viewers, to the world of botany. This is KVS Durga Prasad, Head of Department of Botany, Hindu College, Guntur, introducing the topic of algal general characters. This is part 1. In this episode, we'll be discussing the introduction to algae, what are algae and the definition and all that, then about their habitat, the Talus Organization, the cell structure, the algal flagella, algal pigments, the nutrition, food reserves, reproduction, the classification, their life cycles, and economic importance will be discussed in another episode. Let's go and see the introductory view of the algae. It's a very huge group comprising of around 30,000 species. The word algae was coined by none other than the father of modern botany, Linnaeus. Algae, the word was coined by Linnaeus. Algae is one of the group in Thallophytes. The word Thallophytes comprises of algae and fungi. The study of algae is called phycology. Father of Indian phycology is considered as the M.O.P. Iyengar. Here is M.O.P. Iyengar, who made a splendid job in the role of phycology, and he discovered many things. And he is the father of Indian phycology, in fact. Now, these are algae with a terrific diversity. There are unicellular members, colonial forms, filamentous forms, branched, unbranched, and algae shows terrific that is Talus Organization. Algae are green, photosynthetic, chlorophyllous, independent members. They can be defined as the chlorophyllous autotrophic members, maybe unicellular to multicellular. They fail to show any cellular differentiation. Their sex organs are unicellular. The gametangia are unicellular and non-jocketed. And once again, you are discussing the same things here. And they are quite usually aquatic in their nature. And there is no differentiation of root, stem and leaf. Hence, the body is said to be called thalloid. Thallus means a plant body which has not been differentiated into root, stem and leaf. Hence, they are called thallus. And they are microscopic to very huge structures. The seaweeds like laminarian members measures about hundreds of meters. So, there is no tissue differentiation. Especially the vascular strands are absent. Hence, these are said to be called atracheophytes. There is a complexity of the reproductive aspects. We'll be seeing it in course of time. So the study of it is said to be called phycology. And so they are autotrophic in their nature. Regarding their habitat, coming to the habitat of algae, usually they are aquatic, but sometimes they are terrestrial. Sometimes they may be thermophytes, samophytes, and various types of existence and occurrence are there. We'll be seeing them in detail. And here it is aquatic in nature. Aquatic in sense, once again, two types. They may be freshwater and marine water. The freshwater forms like Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Ilothrix, Irogonium, Nostoc, Oscillatoria, Spirogyra. There are a number of members which are freshwater forms. And there are marine forms also. Sargassum, that is the Phaeophycean members, the Rhodophycean members. And here we are watching the various examples, and these are all marine forms. So, aquatic in sense, freshwater and marine water. Algae is rarely terrestrial. Such as members like Wacheria members, Fritzella. This has been discovered by Fritsch. The algal classification was given by Fritsch. And Wacheria, these are terrestrial forms. And they are sometimes halophytes. And that is the Chlamydomonas, Ehrenbergi, and Dunella. They will be growing in salt lake conditions and giving this appearance, this color, pinkish color, is because of this member growing in that pond. So that is a halophytic nature. And sometimes they may be symbiotic. They may be growing in the thallus. This is Anthocerosa, a bryophyte thallus. In the thallus of this Anthocerosa, these nostoc members are growing. Hence, these are symbiotic in their nature also. And that is cryophytic means the members that are growing on the snow. And these are called cryophytes. The Chlamydomonas members are growing, and they are having the one pigment hematochrome, and they appear red in color, the members. And when they are growing on that snow, that snow, entire snow will be in red color. Red snowballs are due to Chlamydomonas nivalis, Hematococcus, and these members will be growing on the snow. Hence, they are called cryophytic in their nature. Certain members are growing in the springs, water springs, hot water springs, like Oscillatoria brevis and Senicoccus. They are growing in the hot water springs. Hence, these are called thermophytes or thermal algae. Lithophytes, that means the algae which are growing on the rocks, these are called lithophytes. And here this is a Batocospermum and Glyocapsa, nostoc, and certain members are growing on the rocks and what they are called lithophytes. Epiphytic means algae growing on some other plant body, algae growing on algae growing on bryophytes, and algae growing on algae. Diatoms will be growing on Irogonium, and algae growing on the bryophytes, certain blue-green algal members growing on the members of certain bryophyte members. Algae on angiosperms, certain algal members will be growing on the angiosperms, and thus these are called epiphytes. Epizoic means algae growing on the animals, like fish, snails, and all members. In case algae growing on within the body of another animal, they are called endozoic algae. Zuclarella is found in the hydra. This is a hydra, and this Zuclarella is found in the hydra members. So hence these are called endozoic algae. Algae are parasitic sometimes. Algae never be parasites usually. These are autotrophic because they are green, photosynthetic, and can prepare their own food material. But certain members like Cephallurus growing on the tea causes the rust of tea, and this here it is. On the leaves we will find the patches. So these are Cephallurus members growing on the tea leaves and causing the behaving as a parasite. And the Psammophytes. Psammophytes means algae growing on the sand, and here it is a Wachiria growing on the sand, and Formedium also. So certain members growing on the sand, hence they are called Psammophytes. So thus we have seen, my dear viewers, the habitat of the alga. Alga is usually aquatic, but sometimes that may be growing in different climatic conditions also. Now, another important aspect in alga is the Talus Organization. It's a huge topic once again. As I said earlier, alga showing a terrific diversity in its structure. You find unicellular members, you find colonial forms, you will find the filamentous forms, you will find the branched forms, parenchymatous nature. Let's go and see this topic of Talus Organization. Once again, you are seeing the different structures of algal members. To begin with, Talus Organization, there are unicellular members. Once again, they can be classified into two types, the motile forms and non-motile forms. Colonial forms, simply they can also be classified likewise. And here are some unicellular alga. Once again, in unicellular members, there are two types, motile forms and non-motile forms. This is Chlamydomonas, what you are watching on the monitor. With the flagella, it has flagella, two flagella, and this is a motile unicellular member. Whereas this is Chlorella, another chlorophycin member. It is also unicellular, but without flagella. These are diatoms. So thus we have unicellular members with the motile forms and the non-motile forms. These are colonial forms, which means number of cells aggregate to form and behave as one body-like structure, and what it is called colony. And this colony, it can be as of different types, maybe synobial. Synobium means fixed number of cells present in the colony, and the best example for that is volvox. And if it is irregular in number, just like Chlamydomonas members, and maybe tree-like is in the case of dendroids, and maybe of different shapes, and it is called rhizoidal colony. So thus, here we are watching the volvox, number of Chlamydomonas-like cells forming into one body-like structure. This is volvox, a motile colony. Similarly, we have non-motile colonies also, like hydrodictyon and all that. These are filamentous forms. Filamentous forms means these are maybe branched or again unbranched members. That is unbranched members like Gygnema, Spirogyra, and Irogonium. They are filamentous, uniseriated, unbranched members. I repeat, they are filamentous, uniseriated, unbranched members, the Gygnema and the Elothrix. Whereas Cladophora, this you are watching, and it is a branched member. You will be seeing it again. Here you will be watching it. This is Pyrogyra, ribbon-shaped chloroplast is there inside. It is an unbranched form. Here you are finding the branched forms. The branched form. This is a cladophora, and this is Cytonema, another blue-green algal member. It is also appearing as branches, but it is not true branching. It is a dichotomous. It is a false branching. We'll see it again. Here, once again, they're repeating the same. This is Spirogera members, uniseriated unbranched forms, and this is multiseriated members, polysiphonia members, and branched also. A number of siphon-like cells are present. It's a polysiphonia, a rhodophyte member, and this is a branched filamentous member, cladophora, and you will be seeing this one. And branching in cyanobacters are of two types. Both appears to be branched, but this is a false branching. This is not true branching, the case of Cytonema, and here in Stigonema you can see a true branching. Now, coming to the next one, cenocytic members. Cenocytic members means there are no septa, numerous nuclei, multinucleated condition without cross walls. Such condition is said to be called cenocytic or siphonaceous. And best example, that is Xanthophytes members, Wachiria. This is parenchymatous nature, and that is alva. My dear viewers, I've been showing various types of thallus in the case of algae. And this is another nature, Coleochaetae, member of some chlorophycin member. And it has two systems. One system growing horizontally to the surface of the soil, what it is called the prostrate system. And there is an erect system, a projecting system, an erect system. And if two types of systems are existing in the same body, hence it is said to be called heterotrichous. And the best example for that is Coleochaetae. You can use this term even in Ectocarpus and Polysiphonia also. Heterotrichous, having a prostrate and an erect systems. So this is one a laminarian member. A huge body is there with a whole flask and a stalk-like structure and a frond. A very big huge thallus will be there. And these are all various seaweeds, popularly called, occupying nearly 100 meters in length. This is a laminaria, the biggest alga. These are sea palms, and number of members are there in the marine forms, which are very big in their nature. My dear viewers, thus you have seen a huge classification, the range of thallus in algae, maybe unicellular, multicellular, unicellular, motile and non-motile forms, multicellular member, and one more we have to add here, the colonial forms also, multicellular members. This is non-motile, motile colony here we are watching, the motile colony, non-motile colony, then filamentous forms, filamentous branched, unbranched forms, parenchymatous forms, so heterotrichous nature, and the various types. This is a very huge topic in algae, that is Talus Organization. And here you are seeing a typical Chlamydomonas cell, this algal cell. And most of the algae are photosynthetic in their nature. This is alga, a chlorophycin unicellular member. And you are watching the wall. Cell wall will be there, usually made up of cellulose and pectin. And then a plasma membrane followed inside the various organelles. This big cup-shaped structure is the chloroplast. And then this central part, this is a reserve food material, what it is called the pyrenoid. There is a conspicuous nucleus. Fundamentally, all algae are eukaryotic cells. A typical nucleus will be there. An eye spot will be there. And flagella, of course, this is Chlamydomonas. It is having the flagella. And cell structure, you are watching the cell structure. In the case of dinoflagellate members, though it is an eukaryotic cell, and the nucleus is said to be called mesokaryon, which means histones are absent and condensed chromosomes are present. Hence, it is called mesokaryon. There is a peculiar word will be used in the case of dinoflagellate members. Once again, you are watching an ultrastructure of a Chlamydomonas cell, which indicates the typical cell of an algal cell. And algal pigments are there. The different types of pigments you could find. The chlorophyll pigments, the chlorophyll A, B, C, D pigments will be there. Then along with that, we find the carotenoids. We find the carotenoids and also the phycobilins. The carotenoids will find the two types, the carotenes and the xanthophylls. And the fucoxanthin is present in the case of pheophycin members. The phycobilins, R-phycoerythrin and R-phycocyanin are found in the red algal members. And C-phycocyanin and C-phycoerythrin found in the blue-green algal members. So we will be seeing those types of pigments when we discuss the classification of algae. Algal nutrition is a typical autotrophic nutrition. They can perform photosynthesis, and so it's a photoautotrophic in their nature. And coming to the reserve food materials is usually starch or maybe oil And along with that, we find some more members, some other types of reserve food materials. In the case of Phaeophycin members, laminarian starch is present. And in the case of Rhodophycin members, laminaria and mannitol are present in the Phaeophycin members. In the case of Rhodophycin members, we can find Floridian starch. Likewise, we have different types of reserve foods. And basing on that, Fritsch has made a classification. So we will be seeing the reserve foods when we discuss the classification. And these are the algal flagella. This Fritsch has classified alga even on the character of these flagella. And existence of the flagella is a feature of certain members of alga. Of course, there are algal members without flagella. Say, for instance, Rhodophycin members are there. They won't have any flagella. Here, the flagella are there. And flagella, any equal flagella situated anteriorly. Only single flagella will be there, maybe there, and two flagella. And there are two types of flagella. One is whiplash, and another one is tinsel, which is a feathery-like structure is called tinsel. A whiplash is a plain. And four flagella may be there, quadriflagellated. And we'll be seeing again two unequal flagella situated laterally in the case of ectocarpus. Here we can watch once again two equal flagella situated at the anterior end. Best example is Chlamydomonas in all these, and Volvox in all these members. Two unequal flagella situated laterally in the case of ectocarpus. It is a quadriflagellated in the case of Ulothrix. Ulothrix is a quadriflagellated. A ring of flagella presented at the apex in the case of that is Irogonium, a chlorophycin members. Flagella around the spore in the case of what it is called Wachiria. So thus we can see the various the locations, the flagella is existing at different places. And now reproduction is of fundamentally three types: vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction is by means of fragmentation, echinites, tubers, or harmogonia, a characteristic feature of cyanophycin members. And asexual reproduction is by means of zoospores or aplanospores or synzoospores or hypnospores. The various types of, here we are watching the asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction may be isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous. We'll be seeing what the difference between these three. And so thus the vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is, as I said earlier, maybe by means of zoospores or aplanospores. Here, zoospores means comprising of flagella, that is flagella at anterior end, flagella at lateral side, flagella at the apex, around the spores, what it is called a synzoospore in the case of Wachiria members. Then sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is isogamy. This is isogamy. This is anisogamy, and this is oogamous. This is oogamy. Isogamy means a fusion between two similar gametes, and anisogamy means one small and another one is bigger. That is called anisogamy. Oogamy means the egg will be static at one place and the gamete will be coming at some other place and mating with the egg. And thus you are watching once again isogamy, that means fusion between two similar gametes. Anisogamy means fusion between two dissimilar gametes. This isogamy and anisogamy are the primitive features. Oogamy is an advanced feature, and this is oogamy. All the three types can be seen in the case of algal members. And isogamy, anisogamy, and oogamy again. You are watching. This is advanced type of mode of reproduction, that is oogamy means, and here this is a typical chlorophycin, what it is, this is Irogonium. These are antheridia releasing the male gametes, antherozoids what they are called, and this is oogonium bearing the egg. So these are antherozoids, and they are flagellated. They move in the water. That is, this movement is said to be called zooidogamous. The liberated gametes swim in the surrounding media and reaches the egg, fuses with the egg, and forming a diploid zygote. This is a zygote. Acquires a thick wall around it, and what it is called the zygospore. Zygospore means a zygote acquiring a thick wall around it. This is a typical oogamous type of reproduction. What you are watching the slide of Irogonium. So monoecious, dioecious means if the sex organs, both the male and the female existing on the same body, it is said to be called monoecious. The best example for that is Scara. If they are existing on the different bodies, it is said to be called dioecious. And similarly, if the sex organs are existing on the same body, it is otherwise called homothallic. on two different is said to be called heterothallic. The mode of reproduction means maybe sometimes conjugation, as you can see it in the case of Spirogyra members. Conjugation, lateral conjugation and scalariform conjugation, we can see it there. So here is the reproductive structures. You are watching the gametangia, that is unicellular antheridium, and also here also globoid oogonium. As I said, this is the Irogonium mode of reproduction. My dear viewers, in this session we have watched what are algae and where they exist, their habitat, the Talus Organization, the cell structure, algal flagella, the pigments, the algal nutrition, the food reserves, and the mode of reproduction, that is vegetative, asexual, and sexual mode of reproductions we have seen. So in this session, in this part 1, we have seen the general characters of alga. So this is KBS Durga Prasad, Head of the Department of Botany, Hindu College, Guntur, and I hope you might have benefited with this topic. And so, thank you.